Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Oh, what a day. If I sound a little off, don't be worried. I think I have a little cold. The kids all have one. And I feel fine, but it's the, a little snotty, little voice, hacky cough a little bit. Nothing bad, but just in case someone notices it, I might as well say it so that you don't have to, your comments and stuff. It's okay. Well, are we going to see a 1929 style bank run and crash today? Because it's not looking so good, folks. Not at all. Just before I left to do this walk, I was looking, and there's already about 3 or 4 banks lining up. I've lost, in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 some percent of value. Not looking too good. And Joe Biden is giving a speech. In fact, he's probably already given it or is giving it at the time of you watching this video. I'm sure it'll be filled with many untruths and gibberish and whatever. I don't think anyone cares anymore. Things aren't looking good. Been warning for a long time. This kind of stuff can happen. And it's very possible that it is happening. Now, I'll give you my little analysis and what I think might happen. But just want you to know I'm not an expert at all. It's just a guess, but honestly, even the experts, that's what they're doing. They're just guessing anyways. They just are a little bit more informed than I am. But I think this is the beginning of, some financial collapsing woes for this nation. I don't know necessarily, and I'm not sure that I believe necessarily that it's all going to happen today or even in the next couple of days. But I think we're going to see things set into motion that's going to lead to our demise. First of all, just to give you the dummy version of what I think has happened with these banks, and I'm only dumbing this down for myself. It's not because I think that you folks need it dumbed down. It's because I need it dumbed down. You all know, or at least you should know, that our currency, our US dollar, it's all debt-based. That's how it's created. It's debt. The Fed and the government loans out more money. It's these treasury bills, these bonds, and it creates more currency. And that's how a bank works. You make a deposit, they take that deposit, and they loan out loans, and therefore making more money. So everything's debt-based. And these banks, because interest rates have been low for the last few years, they were taking these deposits and they were turning around and investing them into higher risk investments and loans. Well, now that the Fed has been raising the interest rates, it's caused the interest payments on these loans to skyrocket, and these banks can't afford it. And so they're going under. That's oversimplifying. There's other things going on. Don't let your head explode too much. I understand there's other things going on, but to just give a simplified explanation. So what I think is probably going to happen, based on reading comments from the Fed and from the Treasury over the last day or two, is they're probably going to allow some banks to collapse. Yesterday, the Treasury said that they see a few other banks. They didn't say how many or which ones, but they did say that they see a few other banks following the same path as this SVB, which indicates to me that they're kind of saying, yeah, there's probably going to be a few others that fail. The Fed has announced that they've created basically a slush fund. A slush fund that is, these banks can come in and they can take out loans to kind of shore up their assets. The Treasury has said that while they're not bailing out banks, they will ensure that all of the depositors have their money. So basically, the Treasury has become an FDIC with unlimited protection over accounts. Well, where does that money come from? It's got to come from somewhere, right? And so they're just creating more money out of nowhere, is what they're doing. Now, this will probably go on and till the Fed decides, you know what, we have to stop the rate increases, the interest rates, and we even have to drop them. Which one was it? It was some Morgan Stanley. No, it was Goldman Sachs said that they suspect that the Fed rate hikes is over, and it's possible we'll see a 1 percentage point drop in interest rates to save these banks, because while a lot of these banks that are on the verge of collapse they're not small banks by any means. In fact, they're very, very large banks. They're just not known as big players, but they're still, they're still good-sized banks. But there's some other ones that, look at J.P. Morgan and Wells Fargo. Those are major players, and even Bank of America, and they're struggling too in the same way, and they don't want those kind of banks to fail. Many people say that J.P. Morgan is basically the Federal Reserve anyways. So they're going to probably come in and lower interest rates, which for a very small window could be a good thing for those of you trying to buy a house. If that happens and you could buy a house and get it locked in, it's a good thing. But the long term, we're probably going to see inflation skyrocket, because they're creating all this money to basically bail out depositors this time. And most of these depositors are big companies. Most of the little mom and pops and grandmas, their accounts aren't the ones that's going to be losing big money, because they don't have big money. So they're bailing out depositors, lowering interest rates. When we start seeing those Treasury bills, especially like the 3-month T-bill, when we start seeing those numbers go down, they're going to drop interest rates. And for a little period, most likely, it's going to seem like, they saved it. They fixed everything. They stopped the banking collapse. Except in the long run, it's going to cause interest rates or inflation to skyrocket. They've already been talking about the possibility, and we've been seeing it, inflation start to go into uptick mode. And if this happens, I don't think hyperinflation is even off the table. A lot of experts are saying that we could see official inflation numbers of 10 to 15%. And of course, we know that the real inflation numbers is already that high, if not higher. But we're going to see inflation going up. Now, here's the wild card in it. The wild card is that they aren't 100% sure how the people will react to this. They have their game plan, I'm sure, already laid out. But they can't be too certain about how people will react. Already this morning, I saw a few posts online of people reporting seeing a big increase in activity at ATMs in their area. When banks open this morning, it's quite possible there could be a major run on banks. People going in and trying to withdraw money, which could cause the stock market to react to that. And as stocks tumble even more, it could cause more people to react by withdrawing their money. And since everything is instant nowadays because of the internet, there's no way to know just how far this goes. If it goes too far, they'll shut down trading, and most of these banks, they'll lock their doors. But that's not going to save it. People aren't going to tolerate not having access to their money. And it could cause things to kind of spiral out of control. And then we do have a 1929 style or even bigger collapse of banking in the markets. Long run is that this is, it's the, at the very least, I think that this is the really big crack in the system that's going to cause it all to come crashing down. And there's been lots and lots of cracks over the years. You know, a big, huge crack back in 2008, and they tried to put some bubble gum and plaster in it to keep it shored up. And a lot of us have said for years, eventually, that's going to come back to bite us, and it has. So, over the next few days, it's most likely going to get a little crazy. Now, here's the thing. Will they try to distract people so that they're not rushing to the banks or selling out in the markets? Will there be some type of attack? Some type of something happen? Who knows? It's possible. They might need some diversion and distraction. Also, you have to factor in is the worse that we get economically, the more likely we're to take a more aggressive stance towards people like Russia and China and North Korea. Because not only is it a distraction, but it creates money. So there's that. And then there's also something to factor in, I've said before yesterday, is that this would be an absolute perfect time for some adversary to do some type of cyber attack or even some kind of psyop online with all their trolls blowing up out of proportion a bank run or something. We're in a very fragile state right now as a nation and as an economy. I've been warning about this for years. It's not a big surprise. So I don't think that we should be in absolute panic mode. And I know some of you probably are because you have investments and retirement plans and all this kind of stuff, and you're a little unsure of what to do with it. I get that. Just this morning, silver prices went up about 4%. I suspect they'll go up more. Maybe moving some money into silver and gold is the way to do it. If you're looking for a place to purchase some, there's a link in the description below of a company that I use online. Very reputable, quick service, and it's buying actual physical. You know, they send it to you in your home. Possession's 9/10 of the law. Don't do none of that paper gold and silver. It's no different than buying stocks in Silicon Valley Bank or something. Doesn't look good. Probably going to get worse, a lot worse. Food prices going to go up. All kinds of stuff's going to go up. And it's because your money is worth less. That's simply all it is. When the Treasury yesterday said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll back up these accounts. We'll ensure that everyone gets their money, but the taxpayer won't have to be funded." This isn't coming from the taxpayer. Well, where else is it coming from? Because the government surely doesn't create anything. They just take. So if they're giving money away and it's not coming from the budget, then it's going to come in the form of inflation. That's how you and I will pay for it, is through inflation. Because inflation is just simply another type of tax. Need to be taking this serious, moving your finances into a place that you can control them if at all possible. I would be stocking up because, you know, in the next few days, if we start seeing bank runs, bigger bank runs, and you start seeing market collapsing, stocks and stuff going down drastically, you could also start seeing people panicking in their grocery shopping, you know, buying truckloads of toilet paper and stuff. And if there's some things that you need, you probably want to be ahead of the curve on that and get them. If you live in areas that are concentrated in population, higher in crime, you want to be a little bit more cautious and careful because When people start to panic, especially when it has to do with their money, they could become violent. So it's possible, not saying likely, but possible, you could see little pockets of violence. In the end, it's all part of their plan. It's all part of the game, folks. We knew this was going to happen. We knew it. This kind of stuff, the instability and the mass destruction of everything, this scorched earth policy has to be done so that they can bring about their digital currency and their digital ID and their, DNA altering globalist, one world government. It has to happen, at least for their plans to take place. So that's why we're seeing it. And all I'm telling you folks is you just got to continue to prepare and get yourselves ready for it. Don't be scared. Don't live in fear, because you don't make great decisions and choices when you're scared. Know that you've prepared for this. You've got God on your side, and you're in a place that you can endure this. It's time to get your houses in order, folks. It's time to prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.